y'all have practice today?
We did have practice today.
Okay.
Yes, we're full. Everything is going full blast now.
Can't hear you. You ain't talking in your mind.
Everything's
Well, I
going
got it
full
off.
Okay,
I got it
see. I hope nobody has seen me with my tongue out. Okay, so anyway, we've been going full blast for, we got 2.5 weeks. November the 9th. Open up. Okay, so our varsity's looking great. Varsity looks
Go
great.
on Fed again.
I'm praying for that. It's all right to pray, ask God
Yeah,
for
yeah.
it, but it's a different group.
Yeah, yeah.
Still.
Have you heard the 3 things that Mud Creek and heaven have in common? Food, fellowship, and Highway 72 may get you to both places quicker than you think, so drive carefully. I'm James Jeffrey, pastor of Mud Creek Baptist Church. I tell people the best kept secret in Jackson County is in Mud Creek, and it's Mud Creek Baptist Church. 10 minutes from Scottsboro, 8 minutes from Stevenson on the corner of Highway 72 and County Road 181. Look us up on Facebook, or better yet, come see us Sundays at 10:30 a.m. Mud Creek Baptist, making much of Jesus. Welcome to the Meet at the Creek podcast, and I'm your host, Pastor James Jeffrey. If you have questions or comments, send them to mudcreekpastor@gmail.com. That's mudcreekpastor@gmail.com. Meet at the Creek, sermons, discussions, and real talk. Let's get into it. And welcome into the Meet at the Creek podcast. I'm your host, Pastor James Jeffrey, joined alongside tonight by the City of Scottsboro Council folks, the President, Mr. Richard Pudge Bailey, as we call him, and Miss Nita Tolliver. Guys, it's great to have you guys on the podcast finally.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Nita, we've actually tried two different times
That is
to
so
get you
true.
on. The first time, I think you and I both were sick.
Yes.
And then the second time, the schedules just didn't work out. And I already had this thing, filled up through the end of the season. And I thought, well, we'll get you on next year when we start back. And then I had a cancellation. So here you are. And I'm glad you guys had an open time where you could come and sit with us. For everybody that's watching, let me do just a little bit of house cleaning right here. A lot of folks already kind of joining in. Patrick Henniger, what's going on? Dawn Jeffrey said, hey, my sweet friend. I know she ain't talking about Pudge.
No, she better not
It's
be.
always Mr. Oliver.
Natalie says, hey, Dad. Hello, baby child. That's my pride and joy. We appreciate those of you that are listening. Y'all do us a favor, like and share. We'll go ahead and get this thing out there. Just push the video. If anybody's got any questions or any things you want to ask, keep it clean, keep it nice and civil. If you ask a dumb question, if I don't delete it while it's live, I'll delete it later, and I won't say anything about it. So we want to keep this positive, and we want to be informative, and that's what this is all about. That's what it started with. It started with me just doing just some of my friends in the ministry and things like that, talking to preachers, and then I had a few cops on, and that were in the ministry, but we ended up talking more about what their job. And I had one night where I had the sheriff of Blount County, a deputy sheriff here, and a deputy sheriff from DeKalb County, and they talked about a lot of different things, and the program was so good. I thought that's when I started reaching out to just friends and people I had personal relationship with that I knew and different things, and start to try to find out about what they do, and not only what they do in their work, but their lives, and how they got where they are, how they became who they are, who helped make you, and so we just dive into those things. It's more about giving folks an opportunity to get to know you guys and to learn about what you guys do individually, professionally, and some of the ins and outs of the things that y'all do that maybe people don't know about. What's good for us tonight is we're not going to talk as much about the city council probably as y'all think we will. I know Mike was just tore up from the floor up. He was nervous all day long that day. I thought he was going to have to drink Pepto-Bismol or something before we went on the air, but he figured out real quick like it. Now Leadwell did call in on Mike, and they had some great discussion. He said he's not going to call tonight, so I've got the Bluetooth turned down. If he does call, we might put him on, but
Okay.
he said he's not going to call. He didn't want to get y'all unnerved.
It wouldn't bother me.
I know it wouldn't bother.
Telling him to bring it on. Tell him to bring it on.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Well, we may do that in a little bit then.
We may have to reach out to him. How about that?
Oh, that's great. So you guys help me out right fast, like before we get to. My wife said, "Hey, Pudge,"
Hey.
and before we get started, does everything sound good? The audio level's good. Everybody hear good? Because I had to go back to my older board. I had some trouble out of my new board, so I ran home, made a swap out. That's what I learned from Greg Bell. Always have a backup plan, and I think everything sounds good. I'm getting a bunch of likes, so that looks to me like it sounds good. So we're gonna jump right in tonight. We'll go ladies first, if it's all right, Pudge, and we'll start with Nita.
Okay, that's fine.
Before we go any further, though, what I always like to do first is just tell everybody about yourself, because there may be some people who watch my podcast or who listen to me or who know me. They're from the area up in the north of the county or out on the mountain, and they don't know you, and they. That's one thing I said before. I bring people on that I have personal relationships with, and they don't know Nita.
Right.
And so,
I understand.
what about Nita? Where I know you graduated from Scottsboro, so you grew up, in the area.
I grew up around Scottsboro all my life, and always was a Wildcat through and through, and still is. I have 2 kids. Love them to death. A son and a daughter. I have a grandson. I have a wonderful husband that puts up with a whole lot. But thank God, 32 years has been great with me and Kevin. Other than that, I work every day and try to spend my time making a difference in our city and making a difference in my own life. Another thing about me, like I said, school is my heart. Kids are my heart. I always said if anything ever happened to me, just put me around a lot of kids, and I bet you sunshine will shine on me and throughout those kids. So, like I said, I work at Caldwell Elementary, go there faithfully every day. Love basketball. That's a big hobby of mine, and love just making a difference in kids. Church person, Baptist, whatever denomination you are, it doesn't matter with me. All I like to do is serve God and have a little fun.
I heard that.
Other than that, sums it up. I had a wonderful mother that has passed away and gone on home. But I love life. I love people. I love my babies.
Yeah.
And
Oh, no
if
children
anybody-
love her.
They do.
and
Absolutely.
You ride that parade, Christmas parade with her, and that's all you hear going down the road. Miss Tolliver.
Yeah.
well, like I said, you put me in a room with a bunch of kids, and I bet you a lot of sunshine will come out of it.
If you ever run for governor in about 12 or 13 years when those kids can vote, you'll win Jackson County in a landslide.
Well, I
Because
may do
everybody
that.
loves Miss T. I
I
promise.
may do that. But like I said, I'm here to serve. and that's my job. I love making people happy.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but that's one thing about me.
Yeah.
And if it's something I need to work on, I like to look back at my day every day. I come home, and that's the first thing me and my husband ask each other. How did your day go?
Yeah.
And I start off with it. I said, but I know tomorrow I can make it a little bit better.
That's right.
That's me.
Yeah.
This is what you see is what you get with me.
Well, you do coach. You're the JV coach,
Yes.
and you're assistant coach for the varsity girls. What do you like better? Do you like being the assistant coach for the varsity team better, or do you like being in charge?
I thought there wasn't going to be tough questions.
Yeah, well, it's not a tough question.
So what are you asking me? Do I like being the
I'm just
JV
saying,
coach?
would you like someday to be a head coach?
I'll be honest with you. I love my role. I love what I'm doing right now because I can be that hard person on the side a little bit, but they know that Coach T is right there to pick them up when things are rough. So my main thing is, like I said, I like to be that helper.
Yeah.
I love being that second person on the.
There's nothing wrong with that.
No,
and that's,
no.
I think sometimes I also do a show, a podcast for North Jackson because I'm the chaplain up there. So Greg approached me about doing a show for them, weekly show. So I do one with them, and I interview all the assistant coaches. And they got some young ones.
Right.
And I've asked every one of them the same thing. Do you aspire to be a head coach someday? Is that something that you're interested in? And all three of them they've all said the same thing, someday, maybe. But right now, I'm just happy doing what I'm doing. I'm learning, I'm growing. They're very self-aware, and they know that, that's not their time just yet. But someday, when their time comes, they all have expressed a desire to get promoted. Of course, they've got a couple of older coaches. And it could go out today and be head coaches. I haven't interviewed Coach Schrader yet. That's going to be a colorful one. I'm sure. I'm really, really looking forward to that. But he's at a place in his life where I'm just not sure. When I ask him that question, he's probably going to say no, because it's not that he don't have opportunity. I'm just not sure at this particular juncture of his life that he wants to do it. And he's like you. He's very happy.
I am.
Doing what he's doing and just making an impact and not having all the other stress that comes along, with that title. Pudge, you're the council president, so you understand a little bit more about the stress of the title.
Yes, sir.
You also work with the Postal Service. And
bring on the stress.
that is a double portion of stress every single day. I can only imagine, especially with the woes that we're having, and with just a shortage of employees and workers in America. I know FedEx and UPS in particular. There was a day when I thought, and props to the USPS, there was a day that I thought, the mail service was a thing of the past. That FedEx and UPS would be, the way things went.
Yes.
And hands down, for the last year and a half, I've been able to count on, the horsemen around here. they get her done when everybody else drops the ball. The United States Postal Service been trugging right along, and you know what you're getting, and they do a steady job. They do a great job.
Yeah, people don't realize what a hard job it really is.
I can imagine.
I've seen a lot of people come and go.
Yeah.
And they walk in, hey, it's a government postal job. This will be easy, and man, they last a week or two, and they're gone. Being a carrier is really tough. There's probably some, I'm sure, still out there right now.
Yeah.
If we're clear by, I'm saying everybody back and going home by 8 o'clock, it's a good day right now.
Yep.
Because you're so shorthanded.
Man,
You know, there might be 2 or 3 routes a day that's basically not covered.
Yeah.
And so when they get done with a route, they're coming in to get part of another one. You know, it's just a tough time to be a carrier.
yeah, I imagine that is. You know, that goes over into a lot of other places, you know, in municipal and government jobs.
Yes.
You know, we've had conversation at Solid Waste about, you know, the landfill. You know, we only have X amount of employees, and you got to have all those employees on the sale at the same time to run the thing. You know, people don't understand that. You know, we can only work so many hours a week.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
you know, those guys have families and all too. And, you know, it just is what it is. Short of hiring another crew and having a second shift, you know, to operate a landfill, I don't, you know, it's difficult around here. You know, I look at, you know, we've been working on the, you're gonna have to help me, Pudge. My mind went blank here.
Okay.
The incinerator.
Yes.
You know, we've been working on doing diligent work, you know, due diligence for that, learning about that stuff. And Stacy's heading up that process. And man, I don't know how the dude retains all that information, but, you know,
Well, that would definitely be a game changer for
Yes.
this area.
it would,
Such a-
not just financially,
Yes.
you know, or economically, but, well, yeah, it wouldn't just be economically. The impact that it would have on people.
Yes.
You know, I don't think you think about sanitation. Sometimes you don't think about the quality of life going up because your sanitation is improving. But one of the things that we learned going through those classes, and we hope to get you guys to some of our conferences. I know you go to some already.
Yes.
But some of the things that we learn, like, you know, the Dark Ages, the bubonic plague, stuff like that happens because of bad sanitation. That's where it all starts. So the people who do those jobs, when I got into the garbage business, I was like, it's not a big deal. I'm going to go out here and drive a truck, pick up a little trash, and go home. I had no idea, you know, all of the other stuff that went into, you know, picking up trash. It's simple. It's like being a mail carrier or a teacher or a basketball
You haven't
coach.
been down to that landfill and see that massive things.
And ours is small.
Yeah.
What a lot of people don't understand, you know, some of the compared, you know, there are other landfills there were other landfills in the area that were compared, you know, in size to ours. The leadership to keep ours open while others are closing.
Right.
And I had to tell the guy today, you know, there's some things, you know, ADM changes the rules almost daily. There's some stuff we can't take, and we don't like telling people no, we can't help you. But there comes a place where, you know, the rules are the rules, and so the guy says, "Where can I carry this stuff?" Well, unfortunately, the closest place that you can go is Huntsville. After that, I have absolutely no idea. I mean, you're looking at driving an hour and a half to 2 hours
Right.
if Huntsville can't take it. So, you know, the fact that we have somewhere that folks, even if it's an inconvenience time-wise, that there's somewhere you can bring stuff and get it properly disposed of, and, you know, the monitoring, the testing, all the stuff that goes into it, I had absolutely no idea. When I always say Robin Shelton, he really hooked me up when he hired me because he was doing the interviewing when I got hired and moved in from the truck into the office. I think I worked like 2 or 3 weeks and had a stroke. You know, literally. You know, it was just so overwhelming it blew my mind. And then you guys hired Stacy, and I thought I was going to have a massive stroke. Just a little while after he came to work, it was he hit the ground running. He had to learn. He drugged me kicking and screaming through the learning process. I have learned so much. And not only did I learn about solid waste in the process, I learned about the other forms of government, things about what you guys do in the city council that I had no clue. You know, we talk about our jobs, but I think that pales in comparison to the pressure that our government, you know, especially our government leaders. You guys don't make a lot of money. You certainly don't make enough money to put up with what you have to put up with.
You have to remember, though, every day it's not about the money.
That's right.
You're in a position of service.
Yes.
That's it.
And
Absolutely.
with this job, with my job, that's the things we do all day anyways.
Mm-hmm.
We're in a position of service, and that's what the city council is.
Absolutely.
We need to be in the service for the people of Scottsboro.
Absolutely. And it's in the job that most people don't see. It's not what happens out on the floor during the vote.
That's so true.
It's the hashing it out, in the chambers, trying to make the best decision for everybody to the best of your ability. And somebody's always not going to get their way. And boy, I have learned that politics is a rough game, but it's rough because of the feelings. It's these personal relationships that you have on both sides of an issue, and just trying to stay the course.
Yes.
Weather those storms. I commend you guys for even putting yourself out there like that.
I think anybody who's ever served on city council will tell you the hardest part is these appointments to boards.
Yeah.
Because so many people get their feelings hurt.
Yeah.
You can't appoint everybody,
Right.
but everybody thinks that you should appoint them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so you're going to hurt feelings, and it's hard to make that decision.
I've been told that I'm being nominated for a board appointment for the first time in my life this year. And they're like, now, don't get your feelings hurt if you don't get it. Well, trust me, my feelings will be hurt if I do get it because, I'm busy enough as it is. However, I'm willing to do it if enough people, feel like I'm a good fit or the right fit for it. I'm willing to help the best I can. But if I don't get it, I'm not going to be upset about it. I'm going to keep on hammering away doing what I'm doing, and I'm not going to be mad. It doesn't matter to me, who gets it, as long as, they feel they make the best decision, for the good of the people. And if it's not me, I'm totally cool with that. I can promise you, I got enough to be busy doing like everybody else does. But one of the things that, I think about, I go back a long way. And I worked with Greg, doing basketball. So before either of you guys ascended to these positions that you have externally, I can remember, being around, just because of basketball.
Right.
I was always able to be around you guys. I got to know y'all, both of y'all, before, I knew who you were really or what you did. It's now I've known Nita almost a long time, but as far as actually being close, having a close relationship with you, I didn't have it. He was my guy.
Yes,
we played ball together. He was a year older than me, but I could tell stories about him. But I'm afraid he'd tell stories about me, so we're gonna leave that alone.
Well, like you were saying about going back years, I can remember you and your mom being on the bus. Your mom was my bus driver, and I can just remember y'all kids being on the bus with us.
Well, I hated that. I hated
Man,
being on her bus.
But
Man,
hey,
she crack that whip
she
on
made
you,
sure
boy.
we was safe every day.
She sure did.
Let me tell you respected her in every way. And like I said, I can remember you as a kid. Me being older and not much older though. But
You're both young.
your mom did a great job on that bus, and I do appreciate that throughout the years.
I think about that sometimes, Nita. When I first agreed to start doing some of this stuff, and I listened to you talk to me about your decision to finally run for the council. My mom, a lot of people don't know this about my mom. My mom never graduated high school. She got pregnant with me, and she ended up having to drop out her senior year. So she didn't get to finish, and she never got to go back. And, she would work after her and my dad divorced. She would work 2 or 3 jobs to just make ends meet and provide and, to help us have the best life that she could possibly give us.
That's it.
And she worked low-paying jobs. She worked in a flower shop. She started out delivering. She got in there and started learning, in her off time, she became one of the best florists around. She could have made a career out of that if she'd have chose to do it. She was so good at it. But her passion was always bus driving. She loved those kids. And, you know, the last 10, 12 years of her life, she became passionate about serving on boards and, you know, traveling and helping with scheduling and helping make new rules and do away with the old stuff and usher in new stuff. She became an advocate, you know, for support staff.
She sure did.
And children alike. I think that probably helped me become a little more open to ideas, to different thought, people having a different opinion. That became okay to me for a change, because my mom and I definitely shared different opinions on some things. But I realized in all that we loved each other. There was no doubt how much my mom loved me or how much I loved her. But she was very passionate about serving, and she did it for free. Part of the reason that I still do stuff for free. I love what I do. I love helping, you know. Today you asked me how much I charge for something. I told you I'm still not charging for those things. I can't help it. It's just in me. I would feel guilty trying to put a price on helping our kids, and I just can't do it. Which is why I really appreciate, you know, how much you guys are doing it goes above and beyond, you know, what people know or hear about or ever learn about. When I think about the council, when I thought about it for all my life up until 5 years ago, they just sit in there, retirement town. They just want us to be a retirement town. They don't want anything. They don't want to grow. And then I got to know people, and I realized there are people who are fighting for us.
Yes.
You know, they're getting outvoted. It is what it is. It's a game sometimes, and you got to play the game till you get to a place where you can make a difference. And then you really, you know, get involved. Well, once I started seeing that, I started showing up. I started paying attention. I don't get to go to all the meetings now because I have other stuff going on, but I do go back and watch them. They put them on YouTube, so I'm still paying attention, and I know what's happening, and I'm more informed than I've ever been. I always tell people now, if you want to know who's for you and who's against you, go to the meetings or watch the meetings.
That's true.
And you'll see. You'll see for yourself who's for you and against you. And I think, as far as I'm concerned, we have the best city council that we've ever had. No offense to anybody that's ever served before, but there's not a lot of bickering and fussing and warring. And for the first time in a long time, people can disagree. Y'all disagree. You have good, honest, civil discussion, and you know, you take a vote and you move on. It is what it is.
I was told once, y'all are kind of boring.
Yeah.
Whoa.
That's not the case.
Yeah.
I mean, we just disagree on things, but we work it out. You know?
Right.
You know, and I've told all the council at one time or another, you know, I'm one vote.
Yes.
And that's how we all know, you know, one vote. And that's why there's 5 of us.
That's absolutely right. I actually, you know, when a while back, we set up a little thing here, and I needed some accountability for myself, and the church needed, you know, some overseers. So we voted in a collective group, and I did 5 people, and I recused myself from the vote, and said, you know, if it comes to that where we're stuck and we don't have a unanimous vote, we'll kick it to these 5 guys. Yeah. They can get in there and debate it out, and they'll vote, and whatever way, you know, we go. I feel like that's really the honest, you know, best way to do things. We'll vote, and we'll do one thing or the other. And I really love the fact that we have that kind of, you know, you guys have that kind of mindset. It's wonderful. It really is wonderful.
I enjoy working with everyone. It's great and refreshing. You know, most of us know each other, and the ones I didn't really know as close, we are a close little group. And I do really appreciate all of us working together. And our main goal as a group is to move our city forward. And I think all of us got that goal. And I think that's what's helping us.
Well, it's coming.
Yes.
We're got to move forward.
Yes.
I mean, Huntsville's coming.
Yes.
People can like that or lump that, but it's the absolute. You only have to drive towards Huntsville now to see that they're getting closer,
Yes.
and closer and closer. I mean, they just put up that new development down there just this side of
Nice.
Chapman Mountain,
Yes.
and that thing went up in a New York flash.
It's true.
And I mean, they're just going to keep coming. I drove through Huntsville the other day. I had to go down and do some stuff on the bottom side of 60. Well, we went to Priceville to play football. Scottsboro played down there too earlier. I mean, you can see it. You get on over into Decatur, hit 65 south and Morgan County. I mean, Huntsville's gone about as far that direction as they can go before you get into Coleman in that area. They've gone about as far north as you can go. Gone about as far west as anybody's going to let them go.
Yeah.
The only way for them to travel.
And that's the thing. Scottsboro has to be prepared for it.
Yes.
That's it.
Yes.
That's it.
I actually told somebody today, I might have said it to you. It's like it reminds me going down Willow Street now at
Yes,
2:30.
you did tell me
reminds
this.
me of when I was a kid. I remember being a little kid and sitting in traffic on Willow Street for what seemed like hours. Just bumper to bumper. TVA was, kind of going strong. And now from the County Park red light to the overpass at 35 to the interchange, I mean, I'm almost on full bore avoid that area, unless you just absolutely have to go through there.
And like I say, the forward thinking, we know that.
Right.
And you can see the access roads that are being built now.
Yes.
And hopefully, in the future, we'll have the access road all the way down on both sides. And local people can avoid that.
Yeah.
They can go around it and they'll know, hey, I can take this access road and stay off of 72.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I didn't ever think I would. First time I saw one, at Walmart over there when they put that in, I thought that's dumb. It'll never work. And the first time I got on it, I was like, this is kind of nice.
It is. It's really
Not
nice.
a lot of traffic. Nobody was really using it. Well, now they are. You get cussed out if you don't make your turn in time. You can't just be easy around through there anymore. Just chill. But it's growing and things are happening. I have never been so excited about, seeing this. The only thing that makes me nervous, and Katie and I talked about it about a month ago when she was on, is I worry about our local small business people. With these chains coming in, everybody likes them. Chick-fil-A, Whataburger, everybody likes that. But I don't ever want to forget about the people who've been here,
That is so
just
true.
absolutely killing it. People like Robbie, the Drains.
Yes.
These guys have been in here for years, making it happen. So we try, at least me and my wife, we try as often as we can to patron these other places. And I'm finding it a little easier. Run over to Chick-fil-A if you want to. That means the line is not 45 minutes long at Captain D's. But
Right.
you know what? It's 35 minutes long, so it's not really that big of a change. But then there's other things. Monday I was.
We do have the best Captain D's.
Yes.
Oh gosh, you're not
If
you're
you've
not
ever
joking.
tried one anywhere else,
I have.
No.
I even drove to Manchester and ate at Copenhagen's Captain D's up there. It was just not as good.
Nope.
The Fort Payne one is close, just not as good.
That is
Scottsboro
good.
is the best.
That's right. It's nothing like
I've
it.
got to have, when I go to Captain D's, I've got to have that corn on the cob.
Oh yeah.
Give me some slaw.
I
And
can't do the slaw with you, but that corn on the cob
Oh, I
now.
love that slaw. And I always say, hey, I need an extra order of hush puppies. But
If
I
Robbie's
do.
listening, my wife wants him to bring back that chocolate cake.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Well, if he's not listening, we'll text him when it's over.
Yes.
She misses that.
I bet. Oh man, a lot of people do. Speaking of infrastructure, we'll just deal with this and then we'll try to get out of it. But
Okay.
they every AJ dealt with it, with the county side when he was on, and we talked about the western side of town and
Yes.
going towards Huntsville, especially when you get off of Highway 72. Some of those roads in the county are in really bad shape. we're not in as bad a shape in the city as some of the county roads are, but some of them are pretty rough. And every time there's an election year, we always hear about roads. And I know most of my audience has already heard me go through this with different people, but I'm going to go through it again. And I'm going to make it easy for y'all by making people mad at me.
Okay.
I'll never forget during the last campaign, during a debate where Robin Shelton stood up and said, paving roads is not as easy as going to Walmart and buying asphalt. That's just not how it goes. There is this huge process that goes in
It's true.
to being able to pave a road. Generally, by the time a road is paved, that promise was made by a guy who served a term and a half or 2 terms prior. That is that long getting here. And I think sometimes people are, and it's not just road paving, it's other things. I think people honestly think that things happen.
Yeah.
But there's so much that goes into getting something done.
Yeah.
And people just they really don't have a clue, I think, most of the time. Do you guys, I know y'all get those questions a lot.
Yes.
Do you have good answers for people when they ask you? I mean, are you able to just be straightforward with them and just say, hey, that really is?
I guess it was 2020, my first year as president. We put together a paving committee.
Yes.
And so we try to look at roads for the next year and go ahead and get lists ready so that we can get roads on the list. And, like I say, you got to be forward thinking, being ready.
Right.
But of course, at the same time, you're trying to balance out, repaving a road and building new roads to bring more stuff in.
Mm-hmm.
And so, this year we had to put a little bit more over towards Chick-fil-A.
Yeah.
Had to redo the intersection, and that was the cost from the city. But at the same time, Chick-fil-A didn't ask for anything else from us.
That's right.
We didn't have to do one of those 772s,
Mm-hmm.
and all that with them. And so it's great seeing their numbers already because we're not having to share that tax base.
Right. So we, you make up a lot of your expenditure. You make that up pretty quickly.
Hopefully, it's real quick.
Well, from what I've seen with the numbers that I was given, if they're accurate, it's just only going to continue to, and it's in a good spot out there too.
But as you know, that road going around in front of Ruby Tuesdays needed repaired anyway.
Oh man, yeah,
it was horrible.
It was rough.
Awful.
So it kind of got moved ahead because of Chick-fil-A coming in.
Yeah. You could almost, not go to the massage therapist and just drive across that road and, get all of the, all the beating and banging you need. It was pretty rough. But that's because it was so heavy trafficked around through there. I don't think people really understood.
Well, it also had a few flaws in it. You saw some places where it had to be repatched, where it had sunk and things. And this group that came in, the contractors dug it all out. If you ever got over there while they were doing it, they dug pretty deep to get everything repaired, so it should last for a lot longer.
It reminded me of Woods Cove and Porter Road.
Yeah.
That project when it went on. I mean, that took a little while, but that is a fabulous road.
Great. Yes.
Yeah, that's a fabulous road. They probably ought to do every road that way. I know that it was more expensive, but man, that thing's going to last a long, long time. The Rebuild Alabama project's still going on out here, and it seems like they're just doing the same stretches of highway over and over and over and over again.
Well, I guess we're wearing them out.
I guess so. I know I am burning them back and forth from where I live, but and that kind of it's a good segue into the next part is you spoke about having to look forward.
Yes.
Balance. You're having a budget for a year, 2 years, sometimes 3 or 4 years out in advance. Things are coming. You got to start preparing for them. How hard is the budget process?
It's hard.
I was wanting a vacation after this one. I really was.
It's very hard. I can tell you that it takes a lot of long hours, and you go home still with it on your mind, and it's You want to make sure you're doing the right thing.
I know one guy that goes home with it on his mind.
Yes, he does.
We won't name his name out loud, but you know.
But you know, you've got 5 different personalities in there, and they're all got different things that they want to push. You know, and there's only so much money.
Right.
So you know, there's a lot of give and take, and this is what we can get done this year, and then we'll look for next year for this.
I guess he's really wanting to say that that I'm one of those that I just feel like money grows on trees, but it's not. That's not what I just want what's right for our people. That's all.
I understand, and that's a great thing. You know, one of the things that we've pushed here at Mud Creek is, you know, when I started, is this whole making much of Jesus thing, and I say it all the time because I always want it to be fresh. There's a few things that comes along with trying to make much of Christ. Number one, you got to be selfless. It means less of me and more of Him. You got to try to do things the way He did them. So if Jesus is our only example, the Bible is our only standard as Christians, then we've got to start looking for ways to do better, to try to help more.
Yes.
So I've promoted, because for years, you know, the church, not every church, but a lot of churches wouldn't support secular programs or things that weren't run by a church group. And my thing was, you know, immediately once we got started here, I started promoting and pushing things like Jackson County Christmas charities. Hollywood is doing like 25 families. You know, we're going to try to help them. And there's other people will call me, you know, from the hospital. I ain't going to tell anybody's business, but they'll call from the hospital and they'll say, you know, is this Mud Creek? And well, yeah, you know what? Who's this? And I said, well, I'm so and so from Complete Care, or you know, Transcend, or some from the hospital. I'm a caseworker, something like that. We got a patient that's got a need, and not a lot of family, not a lot of money, and you know they're getting down to the end, and they need oxygen.
Right.
You know, we shouldn't have to. If I have to have another committee vote for us to be able to help somebody buy get oxygen to go home on hospice care, I'm getting out of it. I'm just going to be honest. That's just where I am, you know, and if I got to do that, then I'm out. And I brag on the congregation here. They feel the same way about it I do. They don't fuss. They don't gripe. They don't complain. They want to help people. And it's just a small way, you know, that they can go about helping. One of the things that I have learned from them is they realize I have relationships that they don't. And when people will call, I can help them immediately. And they don't have to be involved. They're okay being involved to the extent they are. And if I'm happy with it, they're happy with it. You guys, it's never like that, you know, for y'all, because your phones are always ringing. And it's generally not people really needing help. It's people wanting. And I'm finding out the difference between wanting and needing. A lot of times I want. I'm selfish, and I want. I'm like every other employee that's ever worked for anybody. You know, sometimes I feel like I'm left out, but I'm fortunate enough to be close enough that, you know, I go to the meeting, so I see the numbers and I hear the numbers, and I get it, you know, and I just, okay, you know, I'm all right. If that's the case, I can take it. But this whole idea is be a river, not a pond. I don't think that Scottsboro invested in itself enough for the last 30 years, 40 years. I just never felt like we invested in ourselves.
We've had a lot of catching up to do
Yeah.
the last 5 years.
Yes.
You know, in your mind, was there any truth to the old saying, you know, when you come into town, they should hang a sign that says, "Welcome to Scottsboro," 25 years behind civilization. I mean, people used to say that about us.
Yeah, yeah.
And I thought to myself, man, that's terrible. But then as I got older, I realized that, it's not because we lacked in ability. It's just smart people.
Yes.
People, they got a heart for each other. They love each other. They take care of each other. Nobody shows up for Jackson County like Jackson County.
That's right.
And Scottsboro is the same way. But I just didn't feel like we ever invested. And we're doing it now. We're investing in ourselves. It's scary. It's got to be scarier for y'all than it is for me.
It is.
I'm over here pumping my fists in the air going, yeah, go, go, go.
5 years ago, my first term, me and Mr. Ashburn, I guess we're the oldest two now on the council, but we asked for a list of like vehicles and things, and it was amazing. Nothing had been kind of upkept in the amount of money that was being spent just to upkeep these older vehicles. That it's like, we've got to do something about this.
Yeah.
So slowly made the change, and we're at the point now that I think we've replaced most of anything that shouldn't have been out there. Trucks without a dash and things like that. We've slowly.
You were very instrumental in getting the buyback program, helping get that pushed through.
There was a guy in my ear the whole time.
Exactly, but there again is you have another job that you do. So do you.
Yes.
You have to have people around who have the information.
Yes.
And are telling you correct information.
Yes.
Because most bad decisions are made because of bad information.
That's true.
And I have learned that the hard way. It's like you're only hearing one side of a story. And we're fortunate now that, we have, we're not going to always be right. I'm not going to always be right. I have the information that I think that I'm going to live and die with, but then somebody else will come along and have another set of facts, and it has to be considered. At the end of the day, you got to make that decision.
Well, that buyback program, I was slow to get on board with it. I was.
Oh, I remember.
And when we finally said, well, let's try it. We'll try a couple. And then, you saw how that worked. And then a few more. And I think we're up to 12 now.
12. We are.
And, but I'm so invested in it now. I actually met Mr. Lebel when he was selling it to the Scottsboro School Board. They're looking at the same thing. I went to the meeting with him to support him because I believe in it that much now.
Yeah. And it's an absolutely great. When he first, before he had been voted in and appointed, and he came to the office and he sat down. I'll never forget. He just pulled up a chair, sat down in the middle of the office, and he's talking about buyback programs and, smoke's coming out of my ears. I'm trying to absorb all this stuff so fast. And he's typing in, by the way, chiming in. I'm not going to read to you what he says. He said something about Warren Buffett says to invest in garbage. I realized very early on, he used to say this. Matter of fact, when some of the very first meetings we had, he said, we may be poor, but we don't have to look like it.
That's right.
You guys, if you will start taking care of your stuff and you'll show some pride in what you have, we will do our best to try to invest in you. And he honestly, he's watching. I'm not saying it because he's watching, but honestly, I sit in the meetings. I hear what he says when nobody else is around. He reminds us regularly that the city of Scottsboro has invested in the solid waste department. And, it doesn't go unnoticed amongst us. So I know you don't hear it a lot, but let me just say thank you. And on behalf of solid waste, and not just you two, but the whole council, and even Gary, Patrick, even before,
Patrick and Greg.
Yeah, those guys.
To work with a lot of great guys.
They did want the city to go forward. I really believe that. They invested in us. They started the process, invested in what you guys have done is just kind of kept that going and expanded that to now it's not just solid waste. that's expanding out into other departments, and other people are starting to experience that. The school board of education is about to,
Yep.
for the first time in its history, probably really move into that area, and it's going to be more. I didn't believe it. I thought he was crazy. I absolutely did not believe it. He would tell me these things, and man, it was wonderful to watch. I learned so much so fast. Make me wish I had more money where I could, play the
It's
market a
scary
little
when
bit.
it's scary when you're investing that kind of money, though, into anything, of course. But like I say, it's been a good program, and if it continues, you're not having to spend that cost in maintenance. That's just huge.
Talk about that for a minute too. We brought it up a couple of times. I can remember a few examples, because I had to run the numbers when we first started trying to push this.
Yeah.
And I think I'm correct, and I'll just throw out a rough numbers because I can't remember the exact numbers. But there was one truck that we spent enough money on in 1 year to buy a brand new one.
It's true.
And that was just in repairs, and it still spent more days in the shop than it spent out of the shop on the road being
Used.
It was and we finally got that dude replaced, and my goodness, our revenue, I get to see those, so I know that our revenue at solid waste went up because of that, and because of the vehicle having better equipment. We could get places faster. We didn't have downtime. We weren't paying overtime as much because we didn't have people stay over and go pick up stuff, and we're doing more. Sometimes our tonnage doesn't reflect it. What we're finding is people are doing smaller jobs. So, like we're still making the trip. We're still making the same amount of money, but the tonnages are, but somebody's still got to go. It doesn't matter if there's a half a ton in that container or 5 tons in the container. Somebody's still got to go 35-minute ride one direction from one end of town to the other, 40 minutes to hook up and get back to the landfill, another 40 minutes back, 30 minutes, back to the. So there's a whole lot of time involved in that. So the better equipment has helped make everything more efficient. I imagine that's a problem in every department.
It was. But like I say, the maintenance alone, the money we're saving by going with the newer vehicles, and then of course the buyback program on them, you can actually, if everything works out right, you can actually make money when you sell the vehicle.
Yeah,
It's true.
But saving the maintenance, basically, you're doing a couple oil changes. That's it, and you're selling it and turning around and getting another new one, and you made $5,000 to $10,000 off of it.
Yeah.
And so it's a no-brainer after that.
Stacy figured that out. He worked that out for me one time to prove it to me because I was very skeptical, just like you, when he first started talking about it. And when he laid those numbers out, I don't know if it's just because he was that suave,
Don't give that to him.
But even if you didn't say you only made, if you broke even, you bought the vehicle for this amount and you sold it for the same amount, you broke even. But what you saved in the maintenance,
Right.
what we were paying before.
Yes.
Because not only the cost of the parts and all, but then our maintenance department's over there, then the cost of the employees over there too. You got to calculate all that in.
Yep.
You just saved a lot of money.
Absolutely. And downtime, that's another thing that sometimes a vehicle would sit there waiting on one little part to get here from Japan or China or wherever it was coming from, be on back order for 5 or 6 weeks. And the truck out of service for one part that you could not get. And then, we had to go a lot of times through the bid process to get stuff.
Yes.
Which means you end up with the cheapest one, which means that you're going to be waiting 6 to 7 weeks on one part, where there are companies out there like Tana, because I'm familiar with the landfill equipment. Tana makes some machines that, if you buy one of their machines, they'll bring a trailer out to your site and it's got every part that's on that machine in that trailer. If you have a breakdown, you walk over there, You open the door, you grab your part, you go put it on, you get back in business, and they send you another part to replace it. But you're going to pay extra in upfront costs. But
So
if you
cities, your hands are tied
Yeah.
I see it.
when you have to go with the low bidder. Yeah, even though somebody may be a lot better service for you, you can get the parts easier, but your hands are tied.
I know, and I get that. How do we get away from that, where we can do better? Some people don't think about it like that.
Yeah.
But actually, sometimes spending more is a better managing
Yes.
of your budget and your money, and you better steward of your money by spending more to get a better product.
Yes.
It's true.
And just for example, you take a $1 million machine that doesn't run for 6 weeks because you're waiting on a part. You haven't just lost a few $100s a day. You're losing a few $1,000
Yes.
a day because if it's a compactor, that's
Yeah, we've had that problem.
you know what I mean. And those compactors are keeping it. So if you don't have your compactor running, you're trying to do it with a dozer, which means you're going to have to, when you finally do get your compactor going, you got to go right back over that stuff and spend all that time. So now you're doubling up on it. You've lost tens of thousands of dollars. Well, if that happens 2 or 3 times a year, you've made all that money. You spent all that money that you would have spent just going on and buying. So you ever see a way to get around that?
Not unless you change something in Montgomery.
Yeah. Well, we can vote those guys out. Oh, I probably should say that. Well, I'm not in office, but so y'all don't agree with me, all right?
But the good thing about, when you was talking about the buybacks and everything, the president was talking about President Bailey. I had to throw that out there. But the great thing about it is when you see the men and the women receiving the new equipment, they're very appreciative of it.
Yes.
And that's what puts a smile on my face. When I see them and I can walk around, even if it's at the solid waste or at the, I'm sorry, I just got landfill. If not on the landfill, over there at the street department. The thing about it is, those guys are very appreciative. And when I would come up at the solid waste and see those guys washing those trucks, taking care of their trucks, wiping them off, and making sure they was ready for the next day, that right there put a nutshell in me saying, hey, this is what is that buyback program. This is why they need this equipment. Because if I know they're taking care of it and they think highly of the equipment that we're putting out there, because at the end of the day, they don't have to. Yes, you have to make sure that things are running right, but at the end of the day, they have to take pride in it. And that's what I've seen without somebody looking over them, is they was taking pride in their equipment. And solid waste, any of our departments that has those kind of equipments, I really do appreciate it that they have put in the time and the extra taking care of their vehicles. Now, I've seen and rode around with a couple of these guys, and they don't like somebody else driving their vehicles.
Yeah.
That tells me right there that they're taking pride in their vehicles, and the citizens should know that. That they are very appreciative of the new vehicles. So I just wanted to put that out there to let the citizens know that these guys take good care. Females too, take great care of these equipments. They are very appreciative. And like I said, I appreciate all the directors that are over this heavy equipment, because once I came on, I didn't realize how expensive this equipment was. I mean, it's a shocker. And when one piece of equipment goes down, we have to do our best to get it running and back into shape. So I understand both sides of it, but I didn't realize how much money was spent in this equipment. And like Mr. Bailey said just now, that we have to make sure we're attaining and moving things, and I appreciate Leadville for that, because I've learned a lot. With the landfill and recycling, I went to a conference with recycling, and I'm telling you,
Oh,
It's
yeah.
a lot out there.
It's
And
eye-opening.
I encourage every citizen to get out and recycle. You just don't know how much you would give back to your city by doing that.
You know, one of the things we learned, we started learning about it the year before last, before it became a big issue, was about PFAS. Now there's tremendous, huge lawsuits and stuff going on about it, and that stuff is in everything. It's in the clothes you wear. It's in food you eat. It's in, they told us in that conference that they had went out in the ocean, and I think it was they actually went into the Gulf of Mexico, 100 miles out into the ocean, caught a shark, and there was detectable, traceable amounts of PFAS in the shark cartilage. That if the shark was in there, there's no way around it, and that stuff's in the landfill, that stuff's in the water, and we probably have. We're fortunate that we test so much. We're working diligently to keep that stuff at minimum, but you can't get rid of it. Yeah. And it doesn't matter how hard you try, you can't. There's only one way to get rid of that stuff. You gotta burn it. It's the only way to get shed of it. And so, to be around people who were so forward thinking,
Yes.
to see this coming years before you started hearing it. I thought it was ridiculous too, but it's the same concept as what we're seeing with the vehicles.
Yes.
You guys are having to pull the trigger on something now that seems like an astronomical amount of money. If you wait 6 months, it's going to be probably 10 to 12% more than what you'd pay today.
Yes.
That's right.
So those are very, very difficult decisions. We actually had a couple of comments here. One, Danny said, I would like to say thank you to each and every city council member for what they do for every employee of the city of Scottsboro, but especially what they've done for the part-time employees over the past few years. It's been a big thank you to even one of those didn't name a name, so I don't know who he's talking about, but a big thank you to one of those that's sitting here with us tonight. You guys do make a difference. Sometimes you might not realize that. Sometimes others may not realize that. But you guys make a big difference, not just economically, but relationally to people.
Well, we both work other jobs.
Yes.
But the employees of Scottsboro, you're the face.
Yes.
You're the ones out there, the people who talk, you see them all. You talk to everybody. And so we're just giving back to the employees, basically.
That's it.
Making sure that we keep the great staff that we have.
Yeah. How hard is it? That's a great lead into what I was just about to ask. How hard is keeping what you got?
It's hard.
It's hard.
Police department, I think we may be down about 8 officers right now. But at the same time, probably when I came on, we were down 6. You just never catch up, seems like, getting enough employees in each department.
What do you think is the cause of that?
The police department's a whole different animal,
Yes.
It's, to me, it's a called job. Not everybody should be a police officer.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I get it.
And so you just got to find the right people.
Okay. I understand what you mean by that too, because it's the same with firefighters,
Yes.
even paramedics.
Yes.
Sanitation workers. It's a job you got. You can't just want a paycheck,
Yes.
or you're not going to do it very long.
That's right.
The city's losing one of its best employees. With our marketing and events coordinator leaving. She's done a fantastic job the last few years.
And I told her Monday night, she was the perfect hire, right before COVID hit.
Mm-hmm.
We couldn't have hired a better person because she came in and just came in running. And she took care of so much in the city that she's just going to be very missed.
So you taking that all those responsibilities over. Nita has to do it at basketball games. I mean, she's qualified.
Well, that's why we elect a mayor. They handle the day-to-day stuff.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good answer, Pudge.
Jim listening?
I don't know, but that's a good answer. Oh, goodness. So I do know, that employees finding qualified applicants has been a task for us.
Yes.
There's been a lot of good employees that we've had to pass up because they had a background or past, or they made mistakes, 2 decades ago. Mm-hmm. And it's still, and it's keeping a lot of good employees, at bay, really, for, but I understand the restrictions also, and I get that 100%. When AJ was here, and even with Rick, especially when Rick Roden was here with me, we talked a lot about the Kevin Dukes Center down here.
Oh,
it's beautiful.
And what all that was going to bring to our, our worker base, the future of our city, of our county, is right down there inside that building and inside these schools. But in particular, he named off some things like I didn't know there was a robotics company.
Yes.
In Hollywood, of all the places, in the country for one to be. When I was in the Army, people said, I can't believe that the International Space and Missile Systems Command is in Huntsville, Alabama. Space and Rocket Center in Alabama. That just two words that should never go together. They always made fun of us. But really, us being so close to Huntsville now, becoming the largest city in the state, all of not just the industrial blue collar stuff, but I have friends that are, they work on the arsenal. They're involved in missile defense, and, they're scientists, rocket scientists, literally. I get tickled like I actually know rocket scientists, and they live at Pisgah. Those guys are fun guys to be around. They're just like me.
Yes.
They're just like the rest of us. They're just country guys who went and got an education and got a stroke of good luck, and Redstone didn't close because we were told for years and years that it was going away, and it didn't go away. And boy, that's been a blessing for us. But now, some of that stuff here, those jobs, those companies, they're moving here. It's cheaper for them to come here and start up and grow. But I also look around and see some of these people struggling. They're struggling to keep employees,
yes,
just like we are. Is there a way to remedy that? I mean, is there something that the city can do to get involved to help?
Well, I think we are. The biggest thing right now is housing.
yes.
We're tackling housing, and we've got a few different things on the. If you watched the meetings, you've seen that we were doing a housing study
Mm-hmm.
right now,
Mm-hmm.
and this is to try to get some different people to build some apartments. Because if a new person's coming to Scottsboro right now, normally the first thing they're going to do is get an apartment.
Right.
They're going to get an apartment until they can find a house or their permanent home, or they build something, but there are no apartments.
Yeah.
So then, you can't get them to get the first step, then they're not going to stay.
Right.
So that's the first thing, is get some housing, smaller houses or some apartments built.
And that's a great idea. Out on the island, the city's still got some property out there. Mm-hmm. I'm not trying to get you to tell me, I'm not trying to have any breaking news. But are we ever looking to try to, capitalize on that for something besides residential?
Well, that was the whole thing with the island. I hate to say money in the bank. It could have been sold a few times, but if you're just wanting $1 million homes out there, that's not really giving back to the city of Scottsboro that much.
Right.
You get your property tax and things like that, but we're waiting for the right deal where somebody's going to build something that all the citizens of Scottsboro can enjoy out there.
Yeah.
Now, I've tried to twist some arms. How about y'all give me 100 acres out there, and we do some sports complexes and different things like that out there. But, the money,
Right.
You got to have the money to do that.
So, that said, I hit Rick with it a little bit. He wouldn't dive off in that with me, but what are we looking like, going forward? Are we looking to expand or bring in other stuff like that? I mean, are we out there hunting for that stuff or trying to woo some of these developments in, or are we just kind of hanging back?
With a lot of people want that home run. They want to see you bring that big industry, Toyota or something like that. But we had to look at a different mindset. You can't just swing for the fence.
Right.
So kind of looked at, well, if I was trying to bring my $300 million company here, what would we do? Well, my wife wouldn't have a Chick-fil-A. She wouldn't have anywhere to shop. So we tried to tackle that kind of stuff first, so that we will have the city that will attract that $300 million company.
Right.
So
one of the things I always, we used to go to Decatur when I was little. I was at Point Mallard.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I always thought something like that in this area would be wonderful.
Yes.
Combine that with extra activities like a small mini Top Golf or something like that. You can have a whole, and I think I was telling Katie, it might have been Rick that I talked to about it. Was when I went to San Antonio, I'd heard, go the Riverwalk. So I thought, well, I'm going to be disappointed. It's not going to be all that. I was blown away. It was all that. It was amazing. I mean, honestly. Now I know we're not at a place where we can do that necessarily, but we could do something. You know what I'm saying? Something similar. Would it be better on the island, or would it be better somewhere else?
Well, you see, you look at, you want it to be able to be seen.
Yeah.
People traveling through too.
Right.
The problem is with Scottsboro is, first of all, we get compared to Gunnersville all the time. I hear it. I know you do.
I do. I hear it a lot.
But Gunnersville didn't have a bypass ever built. It's that main street. You don't have any choice. You're going down this street.
You're going to hit every.
Scottsboro ended up building a bypass on the highway. Now that's the main street, basically.
Yeah.
And so you got traffic both places now, and so you don't have that. But also, as you're coming in, and I understand, I've got a lot of friends that are boaters. I understand the problem with the eelgrass and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But some of the other problems is, of course, that's a TVA thing, and we could talk about that all night. But as you're coming in, like when I was growing up, when you're coming in, say from Huntsville to Scottsboro, when you looked off to the right, you could see the water. You can't anymore.
That's right.
You've lost that beautiful view. And a lot of that's, TVA restrictions. They won't let us clean that up, and they won't clean it up, People don't realize how much of the land is controlled by TVA here.
Yeah. There's a bunch of it.
I want to say they said it's like 30,000 acres in Jackson County.
Mm-hmm.
So
I knew it was a bunch, man.
Yeah.
And that's something that always.
And that's prime location land too.
I got a question that says, ask them about the future recreation to attract the younger generation to stay home and spend, which is kind of what I've been doing.
True.
I didn't even see his comment, but that was one thing. My children, one of them moved to Birmingham, another one married my son-in-law's in the Army, and they're stationed in Augusta, Georgia. I don't know that they'll come back here. The oldest one probably not coming back. The middle one might. But if they do, they've told us, they've sat us down and said, hey, listen, if we ever do come back, we're not coming back to Scottsboro. And, of course, now that was 10 years ago, and so I'm looking now. Now I'm having a conversation with them going, hey, we got some stuff now.
Right.
So they come home to visit, and they're making late night runs to Whataburger. Now we're going to have a Chick-fil-A. We've got a TJ Maxx. Finally we have things, and it's not.
I tell people this is not your mom and dad's Scottsboro anymore.
That's right.
It don't look the same
Not
anymore.
the same.
I love that, Pudge. That's great. That's great. Matt Kinsland said it's nice to see forward-thinking leadership for Scottsboro. It's been a long time coming. Thank you each for your service. So,
Thank you.
Craig Holcomb, just like a county cop, pay ratio. No, he's talking. He said pay ratio to agencies around us. and health insurance costs are, you know, that's just some of the things that he sees at the county.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's another thing that I didn't understand until I got involved is the difference between the county and the city. I didn't realize how much say-so the county had, you know, in matters, but I also didn't realize how blessed that we were. You know, we have access to the things that they don't have access to.
That's true.
And we're not limited by, you know, as many things as they are. We're very fortunate. I know that causes a little bit of animosity, and I wish it didn't, but it does. Moving forward, do you envision a partnership, you know, with the city and the county, or are we pretty well, you know, with some of this project stuff that we're working on?
Well, I know what the project you're talking
I know
about,
too.
but it's one of those where I'd love it if it's needed, of course, but we got to see what it's going to cost first, you know.
Yeah,
It's true.
And but we have to be forward thinking on this incinerator.
I wasn't actually talking about that.
Oh, okay.
Well,
I was talking about like recreation stuff, you know, like branching around, you know, partnering with doing some other things to draw, you know, to give.
Oh, I'd be welcome.
You know, when
Yes, all day.
when we were growing up, we had Pudge, we had roller skating rinks, things that we enjoyed doing. The last time I roller skated, I almost ended up in the hospital, but I ain't doing that stuff. I'm too old for it. But you know, my kids didn't have that to enjoy coming up. The stuff that we had, you know, we could go to the Retcom back before the Retcom was there. They had the old basketball court for the lights. You could go over there. If you want to play tennis, you could go over and hit the lights. You know, 2:00 in the morning, there'd be people out shooting hoops, playing tennis. You know, things like that. You could go to, you know, it stayed open late. The skating rink stayed up. There were things for.
So you don't play pickleball, I guess.
I'm not a
Right.
I'm not a pickleballer. You know, I'm cool with it. People who do play pickleball, if that's your thing.
I get a text every Sunday night from somebody different normally, and they'll say, "We had 60 people here tonight, and we need more courts." And I'm like, "Not yet. There's no way yet."
Yeah.
Half of my basketball team, our basketball team in Scottsboro, the girls, they're always out there. They're out there and on those pickleball courts. So
I don't even know what pickleball is. I'm being honest with you.
I've never played it, but gosh, there's so many people that do. It's crazy.
they're enjoying it. I mean, you go by there, it's full. It's a full house out there. And it makes my heart feel great that they're out there. But then again, we've got to get a little something else for our younger youth. And
Well, the reality is that's going to fade eventually.
yes,
You know, 5-6 years ago, disc golf was the popular thing to do. Agape put in a course down there, and it got played a lot. Somebody else even brought it to the council one time and proposed it, and it was talked about. I don't think it was at that time. It was kind of going away.
Well, disc golf takes a lot of land
yes.
if you're going to do a big course.
Yeah.
So you almost have to have something else there and do the disc golf around it or something like that.
And it was pretty cool. There's YouTube videos and stuff out there floating around. Some of those dudes throwing frisbees.
Yeah.
They blow my mind. I'm like, man, I don't know how they ever figure that out, but you know, they got it down to an art and a science. You know, the way it spins off their hands and everything. It's pretty cool to watch too. But you know, golf seems to be something to me that's not as popular as it used to be. Maybe you guys see that different. What about an old golf course? You know,
It could, but actually, golf in Scottsboro's actually picked up.
really?
I'm good friends with a lot of people on the Goose Pond board and stuff, and it's crazy to see how much it's picked up. But they've redid the greens, and I don't golf either.
I'm not a golfer.
Basketball is my thing.
Yes.
That's my
Basketball's my
first
thing.
sport, and then second, I'm gonna be at a football game.
Yeah.
You know, but golf it's actually taken off here again, and I wouldn't have thought it. I thought, you know,
I thought it might be on its way out. It just didn't seem to be as popular as it used to be. But I guess I'm wrong.
you think about it. There's 3 courses here in Scottsboro.
There they are.
Yes.
Plantation Point, Goose Pond, and the Country Club.
Club.
We used to have a 4th one pretty close with the Broken Arrow.
Yeah.
You know, but it's closed now. I think they just do events down there. But Man, it's, we're really fortunate. We do have a lot of outdoor stuff to do. A lot of, Goose Pond has the marina. They have, and they're adding a lot of things.
Yes. Yes.
One question that I was asked with the intent to ask you guys in particular, I hope it's not a hard question and you're free to say I plead the fifth. The amphitheater. It seems, the consensus is it needs to be not destroyed, but repaired,
Repurposed.
something done.
Yes.
There is some opportunity there. We went to a recycle conference a couple of years ago down South Birmingham. Right next door to that place we were at was an amphitheater. It wasn't on the water, but it's set up very, very similar to ours. And then I look, the Sand Mountain they're doing great things out there at Albertville with that one. Huntsville built a great big one, and there's always something going on. We want to dream big, but the reality says, we got to go a little smaller here. But we could still probably do something with that and make some use out of it.
Well, the Goose Pond board, we've both sit in meetings
Yes.
with them, and they've looked at different things down there, and they're in the process. Hopefully, someday, if nothing else, you could do away with the concrete and make a grass, and still be able to do some concerts and things down there.
Yes.
Yeah. I really, I can remember as a kid going down there 4th of July. They always had a band playing, and the place was packed full. People sitting out all over the hillside on picnic blankets and, just things like that.
Take you 2 hours to get out of there.
Yes. And usually 3 or 4 went to jail, that kind of thing. It wasn't for fighting. It was for being ignorant, but stuff like that was a lot of fun. I had a comment here. Kaylin Copenhaver wanted to tell Miss Nita, hey, we're blessed to have women like Nita in our community.
Oh, that's sweet.
You're right, Pudge. You're right. She's getting all the love, man. We're chopped liver around here.
That's one of my babies, and I miss her. She's a big 4th grader now, and it's so hard, with all of the consolidation we went through. But, without that consolidation, it's some babies I wouldn't have been able to see. And now I'm glad that be a part of the school combining together, and we get to see each other. Yeah. And every kid that comes through our school, each one of us is going to have a part in their life. So I've really enjoyed the consolidation overall.
Yeah. That's awesome.
So, but Caitlin, Miss Tolliver loves you as always.
And I know they love you too, Nita. I don't know anybody that don't love you, just to be honest with you. They're probably out there. I don't want to hear about it. But anyway.
It's all right.
Yeah, it's all good.
You know what? It makes me stronger.
I heard that. I heard all of us. It makes everybody stronger. I want to just switch gears here for just a minute and talk about, things that make this community special. We obviously all agree that the people, number one, make it special. We agree, disagree, like, not like. That's, at the end of the day, that most of that's irrelevant because when things happen, they show up. And that makes this place special for me. It makes it home. And I don't want to be, the only other place that I want to go is East Tennessee. If I ever retire and get an opportunity to move, it would be up there. I doubt I'll ever go. But you can't hardly, I'd just be going from one point, 1A to 1B, or something like that. It wouldn't be a great big difference. This is a beautiful, beautiful part of the country. You may mention about the eelgrass. Hopefully TVA will get their heart right and
Yes.
They forced that junk in here, and I get it for the fishermen. I also understand for the fishermen's part of it, if you can't catch fish if you got jet skis flying up and down,
You got to have a balance, though.
Yeah,
Yes.
you do. And I'm with you. I don't fish, and I don't jet ski, so I don't care. What I do care about, though, is when I drive across these causeways, and I look to the left and I look
You
to
don't
the
see
right,
water anymore.
Don't
and
see
it looks
water.
like I could walk across through there
Yes.
because it's so thick.
Yes.
It's nasty looking. It's ugly. It's not appealing. You know, and you can have all the fishing you want, but if your kids are moving away, I would trade my kids staying home for people driving down here from Kentucky to fish a tournament.
Yes.
And it's just the way I feel about it. And I'm at that place in my life where I want more for our community. It would benefit our churches. It would benefit our businesses, especially our small businesses, for us to grow and bring development and bring people back. For the first time since '81, this last year, our schools grew.
Yes, they do.
And that's huge. That's huge for me, you know, and I'm sure it is. The population in Scottsboro grew.
Yes.
And, you know, that's not only is it a credit to people being forward thinking and making decisions, but it's just a credit to the kind of community that we really have. I mean, this is not a bad place to live.
No.
You know, Hollywood, Scottsboro, Stevenson, and, you know, even some of the surrounding areas, Section Dutton, Pisgah, Skyline. These communities are all special. You grew up Skyline, didn't you? Transplant.
Well, I actually began at Scottsboro, and I guess about third grade went to Skyline. My family moved out there.
Man, it's a TVA project gone bad, ain't it?
Yes.
I hope Led will still watch it.
Leadville actually lives down the road from where I grew up
Yeah,
now.
that's awesome. You know, I had no idea. I went to pick up something out there one day. I had no idea just how far out there he actually lived. I mean, he is literally on the edge of the mountain. And it was so cold, and it was like 81 in the valley and 12 below out there where he lives. That wind was blowing from Alaska or somewhere out there. It was so cold. We laughed. Deanne Golden said Skyline is proud of him. I hope you're talking about Pudge. But you guys, all your kids went to school here. They played sports here.
Yes.
You guys are adamant supporters not only of the city, but also the schools, the athletics, the kids. You just invest constantly in everything that's going on. What do you want to see individually? What would you like to see in Scottsboro, you know, in the next 10 to 15 years?
I believe I'm the same as you. I want to see something that keeps my kids here. You know, I've got my oldest daughter lives in Hoover. My youngest daughter's at UAB, but my son lives here still. But what keeps them here? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you're going to have to have a high enough paying job that they can start a family and live here. And so the first step, like I said earlier, was, you know, bring in the businesses that'll bring in the industry.
Right.
Yes.
And then when you bring in the industry that pays the high, then your kids will stay. And then you start, of course, during this, you got to focus on recreation and things for them to do on the weekends. That's going to keep them here.
Yeah.
And then when they stay here, then they spend their money here, and it recycles back in, and we just keep going.
What about you, Nita?
I'm like him. You know, the thing about it is my kids are here. Both of them are here. I'm very blessed that both of them are here. My daughter drives back and forth to Huntsville every day. But she was determined to get her baby back here to Scottsboro school systems. So she wanted her child to be in this environment, and we're blessed for that. But recreation, that's a big.
Yep.
Having something to do on Friday nights for our babies here, older ones too. The thing about it is, if we can prepare our downtown for some entertainment, I think that would be the first plus moving the recreation and putting it all together with restaurants, downtown, entertainment. And I think that our younger generation will enjoy that part of it.
I had a question come in. I'll give you one guess each of who it was. He said, ask tonight's guest why Mike Ashburn is the best councilman.
Well,
I'd vote for him.
Yeah, again.
I'm
Oh,
not gonna
goodness.
say again.
Oh, goodness.
I've just been blessed to work with some great council people.
Yes.
it's true.
I really have.
I've enjoyed Mike and Richard. Could I say Pudge?
Yeah.
And Donna and Gary and Ralph. I've enjoyed all of them. And the great thing about it, you can get on the phone and talk to these people.
Yeah.
And sometimes you get in a point of, hey, I need to call you. Can I call you? I've never had one of them to say, no, I don't have time. They're very back. They come back to you really quick. So that's one thing I do appreciate.
Yeah.
Like I said, starting with Gary all the way down to Donna and Pudge and Ralph and my Michael is great working with all of them. I've enjoyed this. I've enjoyed the ride and hopefully continue to ride with everyone.
I heard that.
My wife just got back from a conference, and the thing with the conference, the speaker was talking about, he gave them a little switch each year. It's a light switch, and they were supposed to mount it. And when they came home, they're supposed to hit that switch. So they remembered, hey, this is my family time. Just hit that switch each day. She said, I'm going to get you a switch. I said, honey, my switch don't ever turn on.
Yeah.
I said, this came with the job. Yeah.
I feel you.
She got on me last night. I was getting home, and I was on the phone, and she was like, turn that switch off. I said, honey, I'm talking to my mom. I'm not turning the switch off on my mom.
Yeah. Oh, man, that's awesome. You guys, I want to share with you just for a minute about what I'm going to do next year. I talked to you a little bit about
Yes,
it
you
today.
did today.
The podcast, because of what I do with the schools, I mean, I'm fairly busy. I'm surprised that I've been able to keep this up the way I have, just by the grace of God and just participation and things like that. But I'm going to be off next week on Tuesday. It's Halloween, and the church is trying to get involved in some different things. I need to be with that, but I'm going to be back for the last episode on the first Tuesday night in November, and then I'm taking off until March. Because I got to wait till basketball season's over because we're busy. I may actually do, and I may holler at you guys if I do. I may actually do a few Q&A sessions because I'm going to have this equipment with me at the basketball game.
Great.
And I may actually go live, like from Hamrick Hall or something like that,
Neat.
earlier ahead of the girls' games. But once basketball goes live, I'm out.
Well, we might be there, you know.
Yeah, maybe.
I'm gonna be there. Believe me.
Yeah, I hope so. Otherwise, somebody's not going to be playing. But
Right.
it's these are. I hope to get more participation from other people. There are a lot of small business owners and things like that. When I come back next year, I'm going to move to another social media platform, and I'm not going away from Facebook, but I'm going to YouTube. I'm also going to be starting to record these, put them on audio, but I'm going to be more pointed next time when we come back next season. I just wanted to give people this first season an opportunity to get to know the people that have impacted me in different ways, and to get to kind of know you guys and what y'all do. Now, next year when we come back, I'm going to do some real pointed discussions about leadership and life lessons and things that, just giving people pointers like the switch, things that help you that might help other people.
Yes.
And so that's kind of where I'm going with this next year. I'm also going to incorporate a little more ministry stuff into it as well, separately. And it's going to be a lot of fun for me, personally, to be able to venture out into that. I don't monetize any of this stuff. I could probably, but I don't. But I want to make it more available than it is with Facebook, because a lot of people just don't have Facebook.
Yeah.
But I want to make it more available. Hopefully, as I move forward with this, you know, it'll branch off into some other opportunities for some other things. But I would really like at some point next year to have a round table with the entire city council.
As long as we open it to the public.
That's what I was going to say. It's got to be legal.
Yeah, well, it won't be it'll just be like this, you know. It won't be you know, just having you guys on to talk about, you know, your different perspectives.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know,
I could definitely advertise it enough so that we make sure
yes,
we could all be at the same place.
about it. You know, it would just be concerning, you know, leadership and concerning, you know, things like that. I'm not going to get into politics or stuff like that because I'm just not interested in it. But, well, I am, but not here.
Yeah, but people don't realize, you know, that the laws on us even meeting. It's
Yes.
crazy, you know.
Yeah.
2 of us, yes, but 3, all of a sudden, you could be breaking a law just sitting at a ball game together.
Really?
Yes.
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 See, I didn't know that. I just
Yes.
learned something new.
Yes. You can't
Man.
sit around it.
I cannot. I absolutely. Cannot. Are you serious? Really?
Promise
Can't
you.
do that. Well, we want it to be legal. If it's not legal, we'll advertise it.
Yes, we'll work that out.
You know, but my goodness, man, wouldn't that be? That would be a lot of fun.
Yes.
It would be a lot of fun because I'm sure everybody has different, you know, opinions on it. Sometimes you got to get in groups and start kicking things around before you know things come to your memory, and you just have some real good discussion. But also, I'm going to dig a little bit more into what you guys do outside of the council in your regular jobs, how that stuff works, and to help people learn more about that stuff too. You know, a lot of people know about teaching, people know about coaching. People didn't know about the council part, but how that affects how you do your council job, or how the council affects how you do your normal job. I know how it affects Pudge sometimes because I'm texting him like, "Hey, my package is lost." You know, if you want my vote next time, find my package. I ain't done that, but I ain't saying I ain't thought it, but you know, I'm just kidding. Guys, I appreciate y'all coming on. It's not just a privilege or an honor for you guys to come on. It's more of it means something to me, you know, that people take time out to come up here and just sit down and just chat with me on a camera in front of God and everybody and all of the city and the county, because you open yourself up to so many different things. But I tell you this, we hadn't had negative comments, and I love that. You know, we don't get a lot of that. I want to keep this lighthearted and really fun, but also want to be informative. I appreciate you guys just coming and hanging out with me. Is there anything that you want people to know before we close this thing out tonight, like about you or about what you do, or anything that you wanted to talk about that we didn't talk about? I want to give you an opportunity to talk about it. Oh,
I can tell you this tonight. I had Caroline Dawson to tell me that she's getting the music ready for our first basketball game.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
So you better be on your P's and Q's. Please go over that music several times before.
Well, you're gonna have to get her number to me or my number to her. Let her text me the song list so I can start going through it, because I need to start.
Yes,
vetting that stuff.
she's going to get that to me, and I
Mr.
told
Dudley
her, I
have a
said, we got to
coronary.
get all of that out of the way quick and give you enough of weeks to. You have less than 2.
I got less than 2 weeks,
2
so
weeks
I got
to
get it
that
done.
handle.
I can do it. I need to get with Jason too about getting the boys while I'm thinking about that.
Another thing I would like to tell the city of Scottsboro, if anybody needs help in any way that we could be a part, our city council could be a part to helping you. If it's donating some time, we all would love to help you in any way of whatever organization you are. And if it's a way of coming around to helping better our city, we're here for that.
Yeah.
I want you to know our council is wanting to help in any way to better our city. If it's in the school system, outside the school system, around downtown, 72, wherever you need help, Goose Pond, wherever, we're here. we're here to help out in our community. We all are here to serve.
That's right.
Awesome. Pudge, you got anything?
Only thing I'd like to say is, if anybody's listening, you got kids, tomorrow night at my church at Center Point Baptist, we have our fall festival tomorrow night from 5 to 8 o'clock. So bring your kids out there and let them have a good time.
Oh,
Man, yeah.
I can back up something else for that. Our Scottsboro Library is having the Book of Boo a book, or I think it's Book and Boo. Saturday morning from 9 to 12, and I will be out there. I think we're going to have books and candy and all kinds of treats, and everything's free. Yeah. I've been telling the kids this week, we want you there from 9 to 12. Mamas and daddies, get them up. They want to be there. Right. So I'm encouraging them to get out to the public library on the Saturday from 9 to 12. And then I'd love to see everybody Main Street, downtown. Yeah. The 31st.
Halloween Home Square.
It's always big.
Yeah. And that's and I think I overheard a conversation today that even if it's mist and rain or sprinkling, they're still going to try to have it.
Yes.
Because they've put so much time in it. Now, is the Jubilee, there's a Jubilee coming up in November.
Yes,
is that right? Do you remember what day that is?
I don't want to say a date, but
I'll share that on my page. I'll go
great.
look it up and find it. And then, we have Jingle Bell Square coming up in December.
Yes.
That's always a lot of fun. The parade, begins down on one end. I actually have thought about, walking that, but, then I remind myself that I'm fat, and I've decided against that every single year.
There's plenty of cars.
I just go up to the square. I just go up to the square and I take a seat and just watch it as it comes by.
So do I need to tell the city council we're going to walk it this year?
Ooh.
What do you think?
I think you're wrong.
I think we could do it.
You pretty probably could, Nita. You're in better shape than the rest of us. I doubt Mr. Ashburn can make it. I'll just be honest with you. We may have to get him a car to go kart or something.
You can push me and Mike.
Yeah, there we go.
I think we got enough wheelchairs.
That's right. Wheelchairs. That's great. Guys, I do appreciate you again for coming on. It's went a little longer than I meant for it to, but thank you for your time and for humoring us. I look forward to getting you back on. Even if we have to do it individually or whatever.
That's great.
If you see me doing this some Tuesday night before basketball games start, pop down and
sure will.
Hop on with me. It'd be a lot of fun. We can pull up another chair, double up on the mic. That's, what about my setup here? You like this equipment?
Love it.
It's pretty snazzy. I'm just the grace of God. I've looked up on some cheap stuff and. Been able to invest a little bit in.
Professional outfit here. This is nice.
This is nice.
Every bit of it's used. There ain't a thing in here that's new. So I've just been fortunate enough to run up on some good deals and just invest in this. And I thought if I'm going to do it, I want to do it right. So we've been able to do that, and I look forward to the future. So you guys, I'm going to get y'all out of here. For you guys that have watched and stayed tuned the whole time, I appreciate y'all listening. And those of you that interacted, we appreciate that too. Like and share it still. Maybe if you didn't even say anything, but if you learned a little something, hit the like button, get it out there. It makes it show up in everybody's news feed that's on yours. So share it. If you disliked it, don't give me the angry face. If you give me the angry face, I'm coming to get you. I'm just kidding. I ain't going to do that. Guys, I appreciate everybody for listening and tuning in with us tonight. So until next time, may the Lord bless you. May the Lord keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. God bless y'all. Till next time. We'll see you then. Thank you for meeting us at the creek, and we hope you enjoyed today's podcast. If you have questions or comments you'd like for us to read, send those to mudcreekpastor@gmail.com. Again, that's mudcreekpastor@gmail.com. Thank you for meeting us at the creek, and we'll see you next time.